Have you been wondering how your staff will get up to speed in order to apply the new review engagement standard? My name is Jennifer McCann. I'm Vice President at FocusROI and FocusCPD and co-author of the Professional Engagement Guide. In this 5-minute video, we will discuss the top 3 strategies that your firm can use to make sure you and your team are ready to comply with the requirements of the new review engagement standard CSRE 2400. You'll want to stick around to the end, as I've got some great training specials that you won't want to miss. The transition to the new review engagement standard has to be the biggest change we've seen in assurance standards since the implementation of the CASIs back in 2010. How much change you will actually see in your current practices will depend. The current standards leave plenty of room for interpretation and differing application, so the impact will vary from firm to firm. Regardless of your current methodology, a systematic approach to implementing the new standards will be required for all firms. The first strategy for implementation is to read and understand the standard. The easiest and best place to start is actually read the new standard. I know read the standard, what an awful suggestion, but it is written in the clarity format, so it's really not that bad to read. Probably the first thing you'll notice, and one of the biggest changes in the standard, is the specific requirements. What used to be implied or was considered to be best practice is now a requirement. For example, materiality was implied in the previous standard, since the wording of the review engagement standard said nothing has come to our attention that would cause us to believe that the financial statements are materially misstated. However, under CSRE 2400, there is an actual requirement that states that the practitioner shall determine materiality for the financial statements as a whole. So in addition to reading the standard, you should also consider, if you haven't done so already, to get some training prior to determining your overall strategy. Understanding the requirements and how they are actually expected to be applied in practice is important in determining the best approach for your firm. The second strategy is to obtain or develop review engagement templates. The majority of the templates that you are currently using will likely not be sufficient to meet the requirements in CSRE 2400. There are a few new requirements to consider, and probably one of the biggest changes is the requirement to identify areas in the financial statements where material misstatements are likely to arise. These areas will be identified primarily through obtaining an understanding of the entity and its environment. Then, the review procedures, consisting of primarily inquiries and analytical procedures, will address both these areas identified, as well as any material balances, transactions, and disclosures. Additionally, there are some specific circumstances, such as fraud, related parties, going concern, and estimates, that require inquiries regardless of whether they have been identified through the process of obtaining an understanding of the entity. CPA Canada will be publishing the Professional Engagement Guide this fall, and this is going to contain a set of review engagement forms that meet the new standards. You may wish to obtain these templates, however, you may wish to customize them to include any specific quality control policies that your firm may have. The third strategy is to get the files ready. So once you understand what needs to be done, it's time to get the rest of the firm ready. Things to consider would include staff training on the new standard, as well as how to use the firm's templates, transferring the information that you have from the prior period reviews into the new templates, and determining the implementation dates for each entity. This is actually a very important step, as the new standards cannot be early adopted. The key to a successful implementation is timing. You don't want to wait until the last minute to start the implementation. However, if you start training your staff too soon, it may be forgotten. Consideration needs to be given to balancing the information you and your staff need and the timing of the training and availability of training programs. Although the new standards cannot be used until you are reporting on a period ending on or after December 14th, 2017, proper planning will ensure that you and your staff can hit the ground running. As I mentioned at the start, I'd like to offer you the ability to learn more about review engagements under the 2400 standard at a very special rate. For the practitioner who would like to find out more about the Review Engagement Standard 2400, we are offering a 1-hour live webinar, Introduction to CSRE 2400. Now, the regular fee for this webinar is $99, but if you purchase it today through the link provided, you can register for only $49. Now, additionally, registrants will also have access to the replay of the recorded webinar for a limited time. If you are looking for a more detailed course, we also offer a 3-hour online course, Applying Review Engagement Standards 2400. Normally, this course sells for $299 per license, but as a special thank you for your time today, we would like to offer it to you for $249 each. Click on the appropriate link below or visit our website at FocusCPD.com for the availability of these courses and more.